Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense. Wanted to shoot your Bitcoin / crypto update for November 12th, just before 10 a.m. Central Time. I did a video this morning, didn't like it, so I'm redoing it. So essentially, guys, I want to talk about the big picture stuff today, and then we'll zoom in and take a look at the smaller time frames. Not a whole lot to talk about in those small time frames today. So first, let's talk about Twitter. And I don't have anything negative to say about Twitter today. I just wanted to point this out. So I did a chart yesterday, and it really triggered some people. And the funny thing is I didn't actually mean it to trigger people. I was just kind of like spitballing, right? So I posted this chart up, and it basically just said, hey, I hope this isn't the cycle we're actually in. People started going nuts, right? You can see 390, whatever you call those, hearts, likes, whatever. I don't know what Twitter uses. 66 retweets, 132 comments. And the thing is I started out kind of like 50-50 that this might be what was happening, and by the time the thread was over, I was like, holy shit, I think this is what's happening, right? So before I jump into all this, please do me a favor, right? Hit that thumbs up button on this video and subscribe to the channel. I forgot to mention that, so please do that real quickly. But basically, the people who were trying to discredit this, they were doing it by calling me names and being hateful and being aggressive and all that kind of stuff, but they weren't backing anything up they were saying with actual reasons, right? Which is often the world today, right? When somebody can't support their narrative with proof, they just attack you. So only one or two people actually posted any bullish charts to actually like combat this idea, and those charts were quickly dismissed. Basically, they didn't really hold any merit. There is one chart that, you know, basically counters this idea. And the funny thing is I was waiting for the bulls to post it, and they didn't, so I posted it for them. So let me show you the other side of this argument real quick, and then I'll show you the bearish side, okay? So let's start with the bull case. This is the chart that I thought surely somebody would post. Nobody did. This is the 2011 Bitcoin bubble. We had what was called a rounded bottom, just like we had a rounded bottom in 2018. We had a strong rally followed by a descending triangle, just like we had a strong rally this year followed by a descending triangle. We broke south of the triangle but came up and retested it, just like we broke south and came up and retested it. Bitcoin then ranged sideways. It consolidated there before having an explosive growth. It never came back down to anywhere close to these lows. Never happened. Okay, so we could see that. We could see this thing range sideways and then explode up closer to the halving, and I'm open to that possibility. Okay, so I want you to be open to the possibility as well. Don't go super bearish and get like completely tunnel vision on my bearish post, because this is absolutely a plausible and viable scenario. Okay, but here's the bearish scenario. So this is what I posted, and basically what a lot of people were trying to use to discredit this post was the fact that this trough here was so deep, right? Whereas this was just a little pullback and then complacency. So I realized today, okay, I need to help some people along, because first off, this isn't meant to be perfectly to scale. It's just a psychology chart. And if you look at the psychology of this, right, euphoria, everybody agrees that 2017 was euphoria. Everybody's talking about Lamborghinis and going to new highs and getting rich and all this stuff. But if you think about the actual definition of complacency, it's basically where, as the chart says, hey, we just need to cool off for the next rally. That's what's happening right now, guys. Everybody's basically like, it's all good. We're going to go to new highs. We're going to go to new highs. This is just a dip in between, right? We had our bubble, new highs. 99 out of 100 people in crypto will tell you that Bitcoin is going to go up to new highs. Less than 1% of people, in my opinion, will tell you that it's done, that it's dead, or that it's still in a bear market. Okay. That is complacency. That concerns me a great deal. But what really concerns me, and I posted this up today because people just weren't getting it. Look at this chart. Does this chart look like this chart? Because this is the Bitcoin chart in a log scale. You have your bottom back here in 2015. You have your bull market all the way up through 2017, right? You have your initial pullback right here. Bam, 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 right? Lower low. Boom, your failed rally, your complacency, okay? And if this is where we're at, then when this is all said and done, there's a very good likelihood that we're going to go back down and retest the 2013 highs down around $1,000 to $1,100. Okay? Now, just to be clear, that's not unheard of for Bitcoin. That's actually backed up by historical data. This here was the 2013 summer bubble top. It topped out at around 230 bucks. It then had its new bubble where it ran all the way up to almost $1,200. And when this bubble popped, it came down, right? Just like when this bubble popped, we came down. We made our sharp trough, right? Had the explosive rally just like this, put in a triangle just like this, and then it shocked everybody when it came down, made a new low, and retested the previous bubble high. Well, wouldn't this be something if this came down, shocked everybody, and retested this previous bubble high? These fractals are scary, right? Because they're very, very similar. Okay, they're not exact. They're very similar. Okay, so you have to decide which fractal do you trust. Do you trust the 2014 fractal, this one right here, or do you trust the bullish one from 2011 right here? And the answer is, I don't know, right? You just have to be open to both possibilities. But the reality is this chart it's a legit chart, guys. This log chart is a scary looking chart. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I'm not telling you that to scare you. I'm just telling you that because this idea that you need to be putting all of your wealth into Bitcoin like it's a for sure thing, it's not a for sure thing. Okay, not even close. Now, the good news is, in my opinion, if this is what's happening and we are in indeed a bubble, then there's a good chance that if this does go down to $1,100, that what would happen is we would start the next leg up where institutional money really was going long on Bitcoin versus shorting Bitcoin, and that it really could take us to new all-time highs in the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. The other thing that this lines up with, guys, is we are due for a basically a stock market correction, right? We're due for a recession. Let's just be blunt. Okay. If we have a recession, wouldn't it make sense that Bitcoin would go through its biggest bust ever during that recession? Okay. Also, keep in mind that if we just take all the noise out and we look at a line chart, by the way, a line chart, the main difference is it doesn't count the wicks and the tails. It just counts the closes and then draws a line to connect them. We don't have a descending triangle on a line chart. What we have is a perfect textbook double top. Bam, bam. And then we drop below the neckline. This yellow line here is the neckline. Came back up for a bearish retest and it's failed. Okay. So even on a smaller time frame, like the medium time frame, looking at weeks or months, this looks very bearish. Okay. So let's jump over to a chart. I know I'm full of good news today, right? Let's jump over to a smaller time frame chart. We'll talk about Bitcoin. So if you guys remember, I went long yesterday on Bitcoin, down around 86.83, and I was looking to take profit 8,900. It never got there, so I closed the majority of the trade, about 90% of the trade on this wick right here, and then I set a stop loss or break even on the remaining 10%. It got stopped out overnight, so trade ended up making about 0.75%. Not really an amazing trade, but you know, it is what it is, right? Made some money at least. So it really lacked a lot of strength, considering we had a really nice hourly divergence and a 4-hour divergence. I thought this thing would go up at least 3 to 5%, and it just didn't get there, which to me, again, is more bearish news. If we look at a Coinbase chart, this right here is an hourly chart. Well, it should be an hourly chart. There we go. Here's an hourly chart. You can see that we have this trend line. It's really, I'm going to take it off there because it's not being respected as support or resistance at this point. Okay. What we did have, though, and I was getting my haircut when this happened, this would have been a good entry. We did have triple bullish divergence on the hourly, so that's positive, right? We could see some upward movement today, so that'd be pretty awesome for the bulls. If we look at our 4-hour chart, though, this is our 4-hour chart. That's still some nice divergence there. Look at this. Boom, lower lows, okay, and then slightly higher lows. So that'll be interesting to see. I can't take a long position. I missed the entry. My RSI just disappeared. What the hell? There we go. I can't take a long entry because I missed it. Had I been home, instead of getting my hair... I left to get my hair cut, and I thought, surely this thing isn't going to do anything weird while I'm gone. I was only gone 20 minutes. Man, maybe 30 minutes. I have short hair, so it doesn't take long to cut. Definitely would have been... I probably wouldn't have gone long there. Actually, there's not really a setup. It would just been a lucky guess. But somebody probably got some money. Look at that, 2% bounce. I don't know. I don't know what that is. Let's take a look. Oh, man. Look at that. See it? It bounced right up into that 61.8. That might have been the perfect short entry before this thing dumps. Okay, so Bitcoin, smaller time frame though, it does have the hourly divergence, so not going to be going short on it right now unless it pumps it back up into the 61.8 again, and not going to be going long. I might just sit today out, okay, and let this thing play out. Overall, though, guys, you know, I don't have anything new to add, so I don't want to do a 20-minute video saying the same stuff. I'll just tell you this: watch for divergences, okay? Just keep a close eye out for divergences because they really help you to, you know, get a feel for when the trend is reversing. So whereas right now this thing is moving down and I'm super duper bearish and, you know, it's just all bad news for me, you know, if this thing starts to put in bullish divergences on, I'm trying to find a daily chart, you know, if it starts putting bullish divergences on the daily, that could be a really good sign that this thing is not going to dump out, okay? But right now all we have is a hidden bearish divergence here, so you know, we're underneath our 200-day moving average, not even close to it, and it's just not looking good. Let me show you a couple other charts real quick to give you kind of a feel for what's happening. So this is a chart. I know people get weird about when you start comparing charts from other markets, but the technical analysis is technical analysis. This is actually a chart of the 20-year Treasury bond ETF. And you can see here that it had a strong uptrend like Bitcoin, went into a descending triangle like Bitcoin, came down like Bitcoin, had its bearish retest, and then dumped, right? This is kind of what I'm expecting to happen with Bitcoin. Also, another good example of that, I think I talked about this yesterday, right? This was the Dow Jones Industrial, death cross, boom, 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 okay? Bitcoin just doesn't look strong, guys. And until it looks strong, you know, we just have to be very, very careful about chasing this thing down. This didn't make it up to the 61.8, so that's kind of a bummer. Maybe we can draw this like this. Maybe this pump today, if there's a pump, maybe it will get up here for us, like up in there, give us another chance to short it. Maybe not, right? It just looks so weak. Even when I look at the order books are just, they're really heavy on the sell side. So time will tell. So with all that being said, guys, please remember I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Nothing in this video is trade advice. You should always do your own due diligence before making any type of investment in cryptocurrency. If you haven't already, be sure and give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to check the description for links where you can follow me on TradingView, Twitter, where you can join my free Facebook group, and also where you can find some links to support the channel if you choose to do so. This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Trade safe.